So history has recorded the first big UFO sighting in the United States is 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico, very famously right outside Roswell. But actually, there was, in some sense, a bigger and more significant event sighting 2 years before, also in New Mexico, at exactly the moment the U.S. government was detonating the first atomic weapon, shortly thereafter used in Japan. And witnesses on the ground saw some kind of object shaped like an avocado, they said, crash land. It was inspected by a lot of locals. There were beings inside, they said, and it was carted away by the U.S. government. Now, people don't want to be called crazy, so no one said too much about it for quite some years, but people within the U.S. government believe it's true, and they believe it so strongly that now, as of this week, the Defense Department's annual spending bill will require, as per Congress, the Pentagon to go back and investigate what really happened. Nick Pope is a former UK Ministry of Defense official who's followed this subject very closely. He joins us to assess. Nick, thanks so much for coming on. So this is a story that most, I think, Americans are not even aware of, but clearly people within the U.S. government believe it's real, or they wouldn't have attached this to a spending bill, correct?
Correct, yes. This is being called the Roswell before Roswell. And you're right, people with some knowledge of these intelligence programs who've been briefing Congress about this made sure that this was put into the legislation. And it's one of many UFO provisions in the new defense bill. The DoD must provide Congress with a list of everything they've found out about this specific incident, but all other incidents and programs from January 1st, 1945 onwards, and anyone involved in these programs or with information about it will be released from their secrecy oaths and non-disclosure agreements, and they'll be able to testify to Congress about this.
So here we have the nuclear connection again. This was around the first detonation in human history of a nuclear device. Subsequent to that, you've had UFO sightings at nuclear missile bases, around nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, nuclear-powered submarines. There's clearly some I mean, I don't pretend to understand, but nuclear has some connection to these sightings, no?
That seems to be the case. And again, Congress is demanding answers on this. We had the latest report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence last week that highlighted the fact that there were several hundred more sightings being investigated, military sightings, than we'd heard of before. Talked about unusual flight characteristics and performance parameters of this. And yeah, we must get to the bottom of this UFO and nuclear connection.
Yeah. I mean, I would think, and it feels like we're getting closer. I hope. Nick Pope, thank you for your work on this. Appreciate it.
Thank you.